This afternoon as well, we're putting our spotlight on this. Journalists across the country are electing new executives for the Ghana Journalists Association. Now, the GJA has been without legitimate leadership since the expiration of the tenure of the Phil Money-led administration in November 2020. Today, three candidates, David Agbenu, Gehat Mensah, and Albert Jumfo, I should say, are seeking to lead the association as the president. Now, 8 others have also put themselves up for General Secretary, Organizing Secretary, and PRO slots will take you definitely. As we're speaking now, the action is still on. But let's get the latest from my colleague, Manuel Cranting, who's been monitoring events across the country and also here in the national capital. Manuel, where are you now and what can you report about the exercise? We understand that polls should be closing by now.
Polls have actually closed already, ended at exactly 3 p.m. With the polls coming to an end across the country. In Accra, there are 5 polling centers right here at the International Press Center, also at DBC, at the Ghana News Agency, at the New Times Corporation, and also at the Graphic Communications Limited. So these 5 locations are where if people actually wanted to vote today, they had to go. But now the elections have ended. In fact, I've been to New Times Corporation where all 33 people who are registered actually turned out to vote. A similar, scene was seen also at the Graphic Communications Group at GNA and also here at the Ghana International Press Center. Well, the clarification, if you like, the updates that we have is out of a total of 324 people who are expected to cast their ballots here at the International Press Center, just a little, over 100 actually did cast their ballots, and we're somewhere in the region of 140. And so that is, by way of information, the number of people who actually turned out here to vote at the International Press Center. In my rounds the entire day, you get some of the journalists actually calling out and insisting that this particular election has been a long time coming. And as you would already know, for close to 2 years now, the Ghana Journalists Association has not had a legitimate leadership, given the expiration of the tenure of the Phil Money-led administration sometime in November 2020. In fact, the matter has been in and out of court, and then all of them eventually culminating into what we are seeing today across the country. Just right about now, what we are seeing is a sorting and then the counting of the ballot papers at the International Press Center. My information is that just also at the other polling centers in the Greater Accra region, the same is happening. I'll just update you on a few issues of missing names in the voters register. Earlier, we had, for instance, here at the International Press Center, Randy Abbey was here, attempted to vote. He was turned away because his name was not found in the voters register. And that was part of, the regulation being used by the Electoral Commission to run this particular election. You had to show an ID card, and then your name would be cross-checked from the voters register. If your name was not found in the voters register, you'd be turned away. And indeed, that was what was done to Randy Abbey right here at the International Press Center. A similar incident also happened at Graphic also. Somebody went there and the name was actually not in the list that was being used over there. But if you take away these few incidents of missing names from the voters register, it's been a generally a peaceful, exercise with people turning out in their numbers, and you had, almost 100% turnout in some of the other polling centers, particularly the New Times Corporation at Graphic, and also somewhere around the Ghana News Agency. So, by way of information, this is where we are. In just a couple of minutes, we'll find out who is, garnering which amount of votes at the end of the entire process. So, we're here monitoring the process, and we'll be bringing you details. As the counting and then the sorting process progresses.
So these names that we understand cannot be found. What has been the solution to such developments?
Well, solution, I don't know about that, but plain and simple, these people have been turned away. I made an example of the Randy Abbey situation. He was turned away, even against the fact that he's quite a popular face within the media space. He was turned away because his name was not found in the register. I put this question to Mr. Roland Afilmoni, who is just the outgoing president of the association, and his reaction essentially was that it's problematic. Well, he admits that is quite a blot on the integrity of the election. However, not much can be done about it, and has actually been craving the indulgence of members who could not find their names in a register. He makes an example of other, buoyant democracies. Makes an example of America even, and says that no election you would find in this world is perfect, if you like, does not have any issues. And so perhaps these are the issues that the Ghana Journalists Association is having with its own election. He, however, points towards the direction that the new executive and by way of this particular election must make it a point to, strengthen the structures within the association. He is calling for a review of the constitution of the Ghana Journalists Association, so that some of these excesses can actually be contained in the future if they do happen.
All right, Manuel. My colleague Manuel Quarantine there. Let's check out Ohimin Teya, who's also been in the Ashanti region, giving us some updates on the process so far. But let's get the latest. Ohimin, what can you tell us?
Thank you, Blessed. In the Ashanti region, 31 delegates were expected to cast their ballot, and at the end of the polls, 27 people did show up to participate in the polls. For now, I have some results here. For public affairs, Rebecca Epe polled 15 against Caesar Abagli's 12. Organizing Secretary Mary Benson polled 10 against Dominic Progi's 17. So General Secretary Akosia Jaman had 16 votes, and Kofi Yeboah also recorded 11 votes. For the presidential elections, Dave Agbenu, 8 votes.
Right.
Gay had 5, and then Albert also 13 in that regard. Earlier on, there were some concerns raised when the chairman of the National Media Commission, Yaobodu Ayeboafo, who was supposed to have voted in the Greater Accra region, show up in the Ashanti region and then demanded that he's allowed to cast his ballot. There were some concerns and then objections raised by the representatives of the various presidential candidates. But after the Electoral Commission intervened, sent information from the head office in Accra that he could be allowed to vote in the Ashanti region. Then Mr. Yaobodu Ayeboafo was allowed to cast his ballot in the Ashanti region.
Well, so you would say that the process has been smooth so far?
Yes, it's been very smooth in the Ashanti region, especially with regards to security. There were not less than 15 police officers who were, posted to man the processes in the Ashanti region. The voting took place at the Electoral Commission's regional office here in Kumasi. So there was only one voting center, and you can imagine a number of police officers who were sent to monitor an election where 31 journalists were expected to participate. And in the end, 27 turned out for the election. So I must say the number of police officers who were detailed to provide security were almost as the number of journalists taking part in the process.
All right, then. I'm grateful, Ohimin. Thank you so much for giving us some updates there. You're still watching The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. We'll return shortly after this.